Okay, here's our model that we're going to export. So File, Export, and save it as a .stl or a stereolithography file, and that's going on to the desktop of this machine. So save. An STL file is good interchange files, and all 3D prototypers generally use that file format. So this is the Axon software, and we're going to open the STL file, and there it appears on the bed, so a simulation of the bed, and we can scale the object. We could also change it from millimeters to or inches in terms of understanding the scale. So if it came in millimeters but needed to be inches, you can change that. You can also flip and rotate. So the next thing is to build. We check our size. So then we build the object. We've got 3 different resolutions, so thickness of a millimeter it's building up with, and the raft, the model will sit on a raft, and then support material. So if you're bridging over, which we're going to do in part 2 of this tutorial, so for the moment we're selecting none. Then we've got the type of material we're using for the actual part, and then it has a fill. So if it's a big block and you want to reduce the material by having a less dense fill, you can adjust that or the pattern it uses. So click build. It'll go through this process of making up the G code, which is a path that the printer head will follow, and then it gives us a weight, material cost, and the time it will take. So save this file. So save the build onto a USB stick. So it's a BFB file, which is a bits for byte. And what we do is actually save that onto a USB stick and plug that into the printer, and that's what produces the file. Okay, so here's our machine and the USB port. So where we saved that file on the USB, we're going to select print, and we'll get that file showing up. This will just analyze the file, make sure it's going to be possible to print it. Then the printer heads just do an alignment process. They also heat up the nozzles so that the material squirts out. And the first thing it will create is a raft. Now the raft is where the model will sit on the bed. So it just allows you then to remove the model easily. And that's it, printing the raft. So these are the printer heads cleaning, coming onto the work area, and you can see building up the layers in 0.5 millimeter. And there's our object. In this part of the tutorial, we're going to look at this, creating the same model but just with a different orientation, so using a support material or not. So the same process of exporting the file as a .stl file, and then opening it up using the Axon software. And once we've got it open, you can see that there's 2 components on the same build. So you could stack up the amount of objects you print at the same time. So we're using the 0.5 millimeter. We're having a raft, but this time instead of being none on the support, we're having PLA and the white ABS for the part. So we set that off to build. Now once this has done the building process, you'll see that there's going to be more material, and then also the time it takes to create. So it's going to generally be a slightly more expensive model. But there it is. So if we take this back and close the model, so we can see the path that the heads are going to follow, and the 2 different colours represent the 2 different materials. So the red being the support material. So the one that's more upright won't actually use any support material, but the one that's laying down will. And we save our BFB file onto the USB stick, and we'll set that off to print. And here is the finished printed part.